Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. This is Dr. Ferdinand. This is a Gold Standard GAMSAT webinar in which we are going to look at a handful of very challenging practice questions for the sciences. And I hope that the lessons that you learn by looking at these questions is you're going to discover is that once you understand it, once once you see the key to the solution, then it becomes easy. And I'm hoping that once you're able to do that, then you will understand that there are many questions like this on the real exam that are types of puzzles. And in other words, although we will be completing a unit that would be traditionally called organic chemistry, another one which would be traditionally called biology, another one which is physics, the truth is that these units have very little to do with those topics, and they end up just being types of puzzles. And and this is reflected with the real exam as well. One of these puzzles, by the way, is going to be a mathematical matrix. And because you will be solving that in the unit that we will be doing, it's going to make it so easy for you when you complete Acer's latest practice test, which is their online practice test, which they released real past recent GAMSAT questions from a real past exam, recent past exam. And in that exam, there's a mathematical matrix. So once we do it together, you will understand how that's solved. And then either you've already completed Acer's mock exam, the online mock exam, which is their most recent material, or you hopefully will be completing it in the next few days, and then you will laugh at Acer. You will mock them because you will already know the key to the solution. Okay, now, of course, some of you know I'm Dr. Ferdinand. I'm the author of the Gold Standard GAMSAT books, Master Series books. And I also put on YouTube for free the step-by-step work solutions to all of the ACERS ebooks. So those are the 5 ebooks, 440 multiple choice questions. And so you can go on YouTube and you will be able to find that. Now, today, we'll be completing 3 units. Basically, we're going to complete them timed. The new timing for the exam as of the last 2 years is 2 minutes per question for the sciences section, 1.5 minutes per question for the humanities section. So you'll be getting 2 minutes per question to solve the 6 questions. So you'll get 12 minutes to solve the questions. And then you will be able to click to see the work solutions. As far as I know, Gold Standard is the only company that has a full-length mock exam for free. So later, after this webinar, you can complete the humanities section and you can complete the other sciences questions in the exam. If that interests you. And of course, I think that you should have already completed Acer's practice materials, or that you will be completing them in the next week, and then you can go through the work solutions that I put on YouTube. I know that some of you have reservations about Acer's materials, feeling that it's kind of out of date. It's whatever. Okay, so they're older materials, obviously. They're older, and so they're less in tune with the current exam. But they're still helpful. They'll still get you to practice um, doing equation manipulation, graph analysis. It'll still get you to do some things, not as well as their more recent materials. GAMSAT practice tests 1, 2, 3, and the online exam, which is their most recent materials. And of course, if you have gold standard practice materials, then of course our materials are always kept up to date to reflect current trends. Okay, so now let's get you equipped so that you can start the practice questions. And by the way, when you're completing the practice questions, if you want to Google AI, call a friend during the time in which you're completing the practice, do anything you want to solve the question. Um, it's more important that than you bend your mind to the problem and try to find a solution than you just wait for the work solution and then see it. Because when you see the work solution, of course, it kind of makes sense. The important thing is the struggle, because ACER's objective for both the humanities section and for the sciences section is to present new information to you and then to get you to struggle through it to find a solution. It's like continually presenting you with puzzles to solve. It's not that those puzzles require extensive background information. There's a few things here and there, that's life. But the great majority of the puzzles, um, sufficient information will be presented to you in order to solve the problem. And that's what's going to happen to you during this tutorial. And then you will be able to see how that reflects real past GAMSAT exam questions. Okay, so some of you already have an account. You can go to gamsatprep.com and log into your account. Some of you never been there. It's just a free account, don't worry. And so Viv, if you can please put the link for the free exam. And so basically you're going to register for the free test. And then we're going to go to the test page together and at the same time. And then we'll go to the sciences section. Please don't complete humanities questions during this tutorial. We'll be doing the sciences section, and we will be completing these questions. So if you've never been on gamsatprep.com, you're going to get access to a full-length mock exam for free with all the work solutions for free. But we're going to be completing only these questions. So log in, go to, once you have logged in, click on tests in the top menu or in the tab, click on tests and scroll down to see this exam, GS free, the sciences section. And once we have everybody there, then we will have a 12-minute clock. Not yet, Viv. We'll have a 12-minute clock, and then we will begin. During the tutorial, if you are struggling, if you're having some connection problems, registration problems, whatever, you can just go to gamsatprep.com and, at any of those links that you see in the chat, and then you will see that there's a live chat button, and you can click on that live chat button to ask a question and to get a solution. Okay, I'm just going to wait one more moment, and then we will set up our clock for 12 minutes to complete these 6 questions. So that's going to be your average. You should pay very careful attention to that average for humanities and for sciences. 1.5 minutes per question for the humanities. And that means for the humanities, every 30 minutes, everybody's going to be different. Some people will be checking every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, but whatever it is, you should have a regular interval that you're you're checking your time to ensure that you've completed the correct number of questions. And you should be doing that as well for, obviously, for the sciences. So you have 2 minutes per question for the sciences. That means every 30 minutes you should have completed 15 questions. And for humanities, 20 questions. So when you keep checking and then you skip difficult units or challenging units, you just randomly guess because you're not penalized for guessing. And then you do your best, the clearest thinking you can perform on the units that you are familiar with, or graphs, tables, diagrams, things that you've practiced for. Okay, so that's enough, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do our 12 minutes. So I hope that you have you've logged into gamsatprep.com, you've clicked on tests in the top menu, you've scrolled down and found the test GS free, this one and no other. The sciences section, not humanities, not written communication, which you've completed already. And then you will open the exam. You'll start the exam, and these are the questions that you'll be completing. Question 21 and 22. And 21 and 22, you're going to see a mathematical matrix. Okay, so it's going to look like this. And then you're going to have 27 and 29, and then question 55. Okay, so, and just in case you're pulling your hair out and you're struggling, I'll ask Viv if she can please also put a link to a PDF of the questions so that if people came late and whatever, and then they can just complete the questions, then they can log in to get the work solutions. Okay, so 12-minute clock, please. You will have these 6 questions to complete in the next 12 minutes. Just getting the clock set up. And please begin. Good luck. Okay, so that's the time pressure that you have during exam day. So that gives you a little idea. Of course, you are permitted to have two A4 sheets of paper. So two regular size sheets of paper on your desk to complete your calculations and so on. If you were almost finished one of your calculations, just finish it. Just complete your calculation. No problem. Now, once you have completed these six questions, now I have to, warn you. Um, there's probably a couple of those questions that you thought you knew the answer to, but yeah, that's not how it works. So it's possible that most of these questions, these six questions, it's possible that most of them you got incorrect. That's okay. It's better that that happens today and now, and that you understand the tricks than it happens on exam day, right? So, don't worry about it. And one other thing I do want to mention is if for whatever reason, you've been studying for a long time, you've gone through a lot of practice questions, and you end up getting most of these questions right, like you end up getting four, five, or six correct, then I have a challenge waiting for you for question 75. So you can reopen the exam and go to question 75, and I'm sure that will humble you, and yet it's still based on current trends. So you will have a new puzzle. So click End Test. So it's at the bottom of your screen. And if you didn't log in for the exam, then log into gamsatprep.com and click on Test in the top menu, scroll down to GS Free. And you can complete this free test as often as you want. So you can just work on a few questions here or there. It's no problem. Um, you can complete it as often as you want. So you click on End Test, then go back to look at the solutions to these six questions and be humble and learn. And I'm going to wait a few minutes and then I will discuss some key issues with regards to these three units. Okay, so I'm going to go over some principles from these questions. You will still be able to go through the work solutions later and, and identify what went wrong. As I said before, if you got most of the questions right, just go to question 75 and work on that. You can reopen the exam and then be able to see the question without the answer, work out the answer, and then go through the solution. So this first unit is about converting. First of all, there's really no assumed knowledge here. This is a puzzle, and that's all there is to it. And there's going to be many puzzles presented to you as graphs, tables, and diagrams. And so this is just a puzzle. And uh, uh, let's just say we were generous in giving you the information before the question, because if you use the ACER's latest exam, questions 73, 74, and 75, they don't set it up with so much information. So it makes it even a greater puzzle. But nonetheless, this setup allows you to understand that there are columns. You see the columns and there are rows, and we can identify, the column and the row with a specific number. For example, this is the matrix, and we are looking at the first row. In the second column, there's the number 4. So the matrix in the first row, in the second column, there is the number 4. And so that gives you just a general sense of it. And then here's a molecule, and the molecule is simplified into, of course, you should have a sense of this. It's common in organic chemistry not to include the hydrogens. And so we are looking at the connections between the carbons. And by just looking at the connections between the carbons, if we give them all a number, so we give this carbon number 1, these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the 7 carbons. Then we can create this matrix, a mathematical matrix, which is like a puzzle, which will identify which carbon atoms are touching which other carbon atoms. So in looking at this, let me just get a bigger view. So because there are 7 carbon atoms, there's going to be a 7 by 7 matrix. And this will identify whether or not the carbon atoms are touching. It's either touching another atom or it's not touching. So it's going to be 1 or 0 as the possibilities for the adjacency matrix. So 2 things are adjacent or touching each other. So is carbon 1 touching carbon 1? No, of course. Carbon 1 is touching carbon 2. So when you look at this matrix, you're going to see zeros straight down the diagonal, because an atom is not adjacent to itself. It's not next to itself. It is itself. So when you look at column 1, row 1, it's going to be 0. Column 2, row 2, it's going to be 0. So that's always going to be because an atom is not adjacent to itself. So what is atom 1 adjacent to, next to? It's only next to atom 2. So here we have in the first row, we have the number 1 representing that atom 1 is adjacent to atom 2, and it is not adjacent to any other atom in the molecule. So atom 1 is next to atom 2, but it is not next to any of the other atoms. Adjacent, so the next atom over. So that's why we get the number 1 here and the number 1 here, representing atom 1, atom 2, atom 1, atom 2. So in these matrices, it's always going to not only be 0 down the diagonal, but the top portion is always going to be exactly reflected in the bottom portion because of the symmetry. It's a 7 by 7 or 8 by 8 or 3 by 3 or whatever it should be. So now we are looking for in the question, we're looking for X and Y. Question 21, X and Y. So here and here, we're trying to find out what they are. Well, atom 2, we can see atom 2 is adjacent to 2 atoms, 1 and 3, and is not adjacent to anything else. So atom 2 adjacent to 1 and 3 and nothing else. So atom 2 adjacent to 1 and 3 and nothing else. So Y has to be 0. This also has to be 0 as well. So this is atom 2 going down here. It's adjacent to 1 and 3 and nothing else. X and Y must be 0. So the answer to 21 must be C. And you can go through the work solution again later. And of course, this is being recorded so that you can watch the video on YouTube later if you wish. Okay, and then the next one is not adjacency, whether or not it's next door to the atom or not. The next matrix is distance. So how far is the atom from the other atom? Example, atom 1 is 1 spot away from 2, 2 spots away from 3, 1, 2, 3 spots away from 4 and 6. Look, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if that's reflected. Atom 1 is 0 spots away from itself. 1 spot, this is row 2, away from 2. 2 spots away from 1, 2, 3. Okay. 2 spots away from 3, 1, 2. And now it should be 3 spots away from 4 and 6. So this is 1. This is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 spots away, 5, 6, 3 spots away. So 3 spots away from 4 and 6, 4 spots away from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7. 4 spots away from 5 and 7. Here's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spots away from 5 and 7, and it's reflected here. Again, zeros down the diagonal. The up reflects the down. Okay, so now I'm going to look at atom 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go down this column, column 3. So this is atom 3. Atom 3 is 1 away from 2, 4, and 6. Atom 3 is 1 away from 2, 4, which is S, and 6. S is equal to 1. And that 22, the answer is C. Okay, and if it's the first time you've ever seen this, of course, it could be challenged, but wouldn't you rather see it today than on the real exam and never have heard of a mathematical matrix or how it could be used for organic chemistry? So, and now is a wonderful time, by the way, if you have access to Acer's online test, to try questions 73 to 75. So if you understood this, then those questions should be super easy. And those are the most recent released real past exam questions. Okay, so let's take a look at questions 27 to 29. And in 27 to 29, question 27, uh, 38% of students who sat this test got question 27 correct. And I am sure that 90% thought they had it correct, but only 27% actually got it correct. So this is because of a misunderstanding with regards to exponential scales. So when you're looking at a graph, you always look at the caption. Sometimes Acer has a caption, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just write figure one, but sometimes they give a little bit of information. Time kill curves incubate in the presence of various antimicrobials, and A signifies antimicrobial alone. So that's the information given. Then you look at the scales. You see this is a regular scale. We call this linear because it's the same interval. The number two, the number two, number two, number two. It's always the same interval. And of course, you look at the labeling of the graph. This is time, and this is CFU per mil. And then you look at the scale here. Now, it looks like it's regular intervals. It appears to be, but then you notice this is an exponential scale, and that changes all the rules. How important is this to Acer? I'll let you know. So Acer released, of course, when you register for GAMSAT, you get access to one free ebook, which is Acer's GAMSAT practice questions. It's their oldest ebook. It's from the 1990s, believe it or not. So the questions are a bit old, but it's still okay. But the most recent free practice questions that Acer released is in a video format. And let me just and I'm just getting you the link. Now, these are the most recent questions that Acer has released. They released them for free. It's only a few questions, okay? So I can't get too excited. It's only a few questions, but Acer could have asked any practice questions they wanted. They just choosing a few questions. What unit would they choose? Organic chemistry? Physics? Would they choose general chemistry? Titrations? Titration curves? No. They chose a type of graph which is testing exactly what this graph tests, which is your understanding of an exponential scale. That's what it's doing. So that is what Acer chose as their only most recent sciences unit that they have made available for free. And so I put the link for you there. And you can look at the one unit in sciences and the one unit in humanities, which they have released. Okay. Let me get back on track. Okay. So yes, In looking at this graph, according to figure 1, the largest drop in the number of viable bacterial cells between hour 1, which is over here, and hour 10 occurs with which of the following trials? And really, in terms of a drop, we're really just looking at the antagonist, which are these dark triangles, and synergistic, which is the dark squares. So here we have, obviously this is not a drop, between hour 1 and hour 10, but here we have a drop, and here also we have a drop. And so what most people did, 58% of people who looked at this question did, is they eyeballed it. They looked at hour 1 to hour 10, and they see this is a bigger drop than hour 1 to hour 10 for the dark triangles. So then most people chose D as the answer, which was synergistic. But not this is not even close to, because when we were looking at the drop in numbers at hour 1, synergistic is starting at 1,000. So this is 10, 100, 1,000. It starts at 1,000 and it goes down to 0. Now let's see what this dark triangle is doing. Now, this is 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. This is 1,000,000, and this is 10 million. Dark triangle starts between 1,000,000 and 10 million, and it goes down just a little bit, but perhaps it goes down to 1,000,000. Possibly it goes down to this level, around 1,000,000. It doesn't matter. The point is, it starts with some number between 1,000,000 and 10 million, and it drops. That means it dropped millions. And this dropped 1,000. Absolutely no comparison. And so here's a question. You can read textbooks in biology, but if you're not completing problem-based learning for GAMSAT, then you're not going to experience the type of questions that you can expect on the real exam. So, so the answer is clearly B. It's clearly the antagonist that drops more, and it's because it's an exponential scale. And here's a concept for you to remember when you're completing the question that I put from Acer in the link, and also some of their real past exam questions, is that small changes at the upper part of an exponential scale are far more important than large changes at the bottom part of an exponential scale. I'll say it one more time. Small changes at the upper part of an exponential scale are far more important than large changes at the bottom part of an exponential scale. And the next questions, by the way, in the work solution to this question, I also cross-referenced one of Acer's real past questions, not just the videos, because that came out more recently, but from Acer's GAMSAT Practice Test 1, where they have a unit that uses that same concept. Okay, so next, of course, this same concept is going to be hammered home again and again. So anytime you see an exponential scale, you should have an alert that that might be the basis of the questions. So now we're looking at question 28 at hour 6, which is here. Which of the following best approximates the difference in viable bacterial cell numbers between the control and antimicrobial alone. So between control, which is here, and antimicrobial alone, which is here. And so here, less than half of people were getting the correct answer. And so let me get a little paper. So at hour six for control, we have 10 to the 9. So 10 to the 9, which is 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's 9 zeros. And I want to know the difference between this and so that's control, and antimicrobial alone, which is this one. And we can say that's approximately 10 to the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. This is the difference. And this answer, when you look at the options that you have as possible solutions, the answer is approximated by the original number. So why did people make mistakes, and why did 40% of people choose B? It's because they took 10 to the 9 and 10 to the 4, and they divided them. They divided these two numbers. The question was, what is the difference between these two trials? But if you divide them, oh yeah, so you get 10 to the 5, okay? And that gives you answer choice B. But that's not the question. The question was, what's the difference between these two? And again, when you look at GAMSAT Practice Test 1, you'll see that they pose the question for you to identify the difference between two trials. Okay, I think we're almost done for time. Again, you can look at question 75 on the at the end of the exam. And if you have any questions about any of the questions on the exam, even though this full-length mock exam, which has humanities and sciences, is free, you can post your questions in our forum. So we have gamsatprep.com. You'll see a forum link. You can find the test because we have many full-length exams. We have over 15 full-length exams. You can find the test, which is GS free. Sciences, you might find that some student already asked a question on the particular question you want to ask. So you might find a a question that has already been asked. If not, it's free for you to post, and you can ask your question for any clarification that you might have. I hope you found these questions helpful. I hope you find that link to Acer's questions helpful. I have another tutorial starting now. So good luck with your studies, and I hope you are able to achieve what you need. And if not, you can join us in our free tutorials, which we have every month, uh, going into the March exam. And we also have 3-hour tutorials starting in December. And there will be weekly 3-hour tutorials starting in December, which will go right up until the March exam. Good luck with your studies, and bye for now.